In part 2 of the Break Your Brief nutrition episode, Bekki and I delve into a wide range of topics, ranging from intermittent fasting to supplementation to the keto diet. We discuss the difference between eating for performance versus eating for life, and break down Bekki's course, Approaching Nutrition, which will help you eat for life. Our main takeaway from this episode is that it's important to have patience when making changes to diet or training. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you do, please like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. You can also check us out wherever you find your podcasts. Enjoy the episode. Thanks so much for listening. Because now I want to dive into kind of like some mistakes she's seen other people make. We're not going to name any names.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And get into some of the more nitty gritty of it. Because I think that was a really good intro to nutrition, but now I want to dive into some more questions. Okay, so speaking of that, so what is something that a mistake you see people make? Like if you're like, man, everyone makes this one mistake, what would it be?
I would say it is misapplied precision.
Misapplied precision.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that?
So I mean, or some people call it like majoring in the minor. So it's like, what's the best vegetable to eat for weight loss, right? Or like, what's the best lean protein for building muscle?
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. All of them are the best. The one that you will eat and the one that you enjoy eating.
So they're focusing on like the micro when they should be looking at the macro.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah. I think that's good life advice just in general.
Yeah.
A lot of times I see people in the gym, they're really like, I need this one exercise to make my my legs are weak. I want to get them stronger. What's one thing I can do? I'm like, well, you work out twice a week.
Yeah.
Work out 4 times a week.
Right.
Don't worry about working out like specific muscles. Worry about working out more.
Yeah. Worry about sustainability more than you worry about
and then worry about all the stuff Bekki talked about. And if you struggle with it, talk to Bekki.
And another part of that is probably comes in related to that supplementation. People are always lots of questions about supplementation. And usually I say the only supplement I recommend, like most athletes especially have, is whey protein.
Yeah, let's talk about supplementation. I think that's a good, I've recently, I'm not gonna lie, because I used to, for the longest time, most of the time you guys have known me here, I've not taken a supplement other than maybe in casein protein at night and sometimes whey protein if I have like oatmeal. Yeah. I've recently started taking some supplements, not steroids.
What are we talking about?
I've recently started taking 2 and I've taken them in the past. It's not like, so.
You guess creatine?
Yeah, creatine and beta alanine.
Okay.
And so I took when I committed to getting a little bit stronger, I started taking the creatine. I know in the past it's worked for me. It doesn't work for everyone.
Right.
It's like it's very cheap.
Right.
And there's science that says it works.
Creatine is for sure backed by science.
But guys, like I said, I'm trying to be rude. I was fitter than most of you, never not taking it for years. Yeah. Right.
And that's the thing, right? Like you were brilliant at the basics first. It's not like
I wouldn't say brilliant, but I understood the basics.
Yeah. You weren't going from frozen pizzas and fast food to creatine's gonna fix this.
No, I added it in, and then the beta alanine was just something I wanted to try out.
Yeah.
Seems to be working for me. Again, that goes back to the intensity thing. I think it does help a little bit with that stuff.
Yeah,
but if you don't know what intensity is, beta alanine is not going to help you find it. Those are the only supplements I take. I don't take, and usually some sort of protein source, a powder, not even every day.
Yeah, and I shouldn't even have said whey. Like any protein supplement, if you have trouble reaching your protein goals, it's great.
I use egg white protein. For me, it seems to work best for my digestive system.
And kind of related to protein and mistakes and misapplied precision is BCAAs. Yeah. So hot in the market right now.
Are they still? They were big. I went through a BCAA kick.
Sure. Yeah. So
that was like that, and then that was.
It tastes like fruit punch.
Yeah, they're good tasting. Yeah.
If you're meeting your protein goals through food or through protein supplementation, you do not need to take BCAAs. You're just really paying for expensive pee.
Yeah.
I mean, it tastes good. If you like the taste, cool.
And I guess we can. And again, I'll put the same disclaimer I put on Megan's because none of this is medical advice. I'm used to doing that. I'm also you don't need to take a ton of vitamins.
Right.
If you have a deficiency that your doctor's like, man, you're deficient in vitamin D, and you're trying to, or iron is a common thing.
Right. And you're vegan maybe, and you want to take B12.
But you don't need to in my opinion, you don't need to cram 12 multivitamins.
No.
As long as you're eating a rest and you don't have a deficiency.
Totally.
Is there any supplements besides BCAAs that people in your experience are really keyed into? Because I think when you say that what drew me to was the precision thing. Yeah. Because that's something I get asked a lot. Like when we're in the class, people ask me what they should be taking.
Yeah.
And for me, it's man, it's not even the right question.
Exactly.
But it's really What are some other things that supplements people should avoid? Anything?
So I'm not a huge fan of pre-workout.
Yeah.
Because I think people get reliant on it.
That's
and then
true. I'm currently taking a pre-workout and I'm definitely reliant on it.
Yeah. So
we'll talk about that.
I might take one like if I'm extra sleepy, or maybe if I think it's like there's an extra hard workout I think I want to do real well at or something. Although to be honest, that's usually blown up in my face when I've done that. It does not make me feel great.
I mean, if you don't normally take pre-workout, don't take it.
Yeah.
But
don't use it as like, I need this to work out.
Okay, let's talk about, so, because I've gone on and off pre-workout for a long time. What happened was, there's multiple reasons for it. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just going to explain why I'm using it, because I think I see a lot of people and they come to the gym and they have all these like powders and drinks and they're like, they've been working out 6 months. And it's like, man, you don't know what works for you yet. Stop adding stuff. So the reason I take it for 3 reasons. One, for the longest time, I'd have black coffee.
Yeah.
But with Mallory and I's current schedule, we up at 5, we're working out by like 5:30.
Yeah.
I can't have drip black coffee that early in the morning. But I need caffeine.
Right.
And then I was like, I was having like, it wasn't just like the typical black coffee. I was having some other issues. And I actually spoke to Phil about it.
Yeah.
And he said it was the same way. And then we have a group chat with a couple other friends and they said the same thing. And then our one buddy's like, well, I get up, I make a pour over and he makes like really nice coffee. But he's like, when I have drip coffee, I have a drip coffee maker that would make I'd wake up and it would be ready.
Yeah.
But it's very, very acidic.
Okay.
So it was just causing like my throat to feel great. Like I was just feeling like not good working out. That was one reason. So I needed caffeine in the morning and I didn't have time to make a really fancy, I'd rather sleep than make like a super fancy, like kind of pour over.
Yeah.
So that was reason 1.
Okay.
Reason 2, it goes back to like, I only take something like that when I'm about to work out.
Yeah.
So it puts my mind, because I was struggling with the pandemic and a routine. Yeah. I know that in the past, having something like that has focused me.
It's like ritual more.
The ritualistic aspect of it.
Yeah, sure.
That was a rant to say, just because I do it, I don't want to be one of those, don't do it unless you have been working out for a long time or you have a specific justification for it, don't take it. And then if you really want to take a pre-workout, please just message me first. Like I'll give you a couple suggestions because there's so many ones on the market that you shouldn't be.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember taking some pre-workouts that like made me feel my hair grow.
Yeah,
and like skin itch and like some weird stuff.
So pre-workout, Bekki says to avoid it.
Yeah, you don't need it.
I take it, but I don't want to lie to you because I agree with Bekki. You shouldn't take it.
I don't think it's like going to hurt you, but it's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. It's a misapplied precision thing. It's like
exactly.
You have other things probably better focus your energy on.
So know what you want to do for that. Okay. Yeah. So, and then
there's one more supplement that people ask about a lot.
What's that?
Greens powder.
Oh, is that good, bad?
I don't think you need it. If you're not eating vegetables in your like daily life, you should do that first. You should work on that.
But say I have a shake, could I have greens powder in my shake instead of putting Spanish in there, or? You
can, but you're gonna be real hungry. Like if you're,
because there's not the fibrous.
Exactly, the fiber and water, and just like the satiation of actually like eating is like psychologically satisfying too.
That's true, yeah. But say like you're maybe one of those more dialed in people.
Yeah, if you're like dialed in, or especially if you're like maybe trying to like gain. And you're like struggling to eat vegetables and stuff like that, like if you want to do it as an insurance policy, like that makes more sense. Okay. But don't think it's a good substitution because like you don't like vegetables. You should really learn to like vegetables. Yeah,
I think that's what I was trying to get at. Like I know people who take a greens powder and I know why they do it and it makes sense. Yeah. But I've seen people like not eat a single vegetable in their entire day. Right. But say they had their greens at night. Yeah. And it's not the same thing.
And they're hungry, right? And they're like, why can't I lose weight?
Awesome. Yeah. So take, and with the creatine, Bekki and I both said I don't recommend taking it right away. Especially like if you have don't take it if you're trying to lose weight, the creatine.
I would actually like, if you're trying to, if you're trying to lose fat while maintaining muscle,
it helps.
It's not a bad, you can take creatine.
But just be aware that the number on the scale might
go up. You're going to retain some water.
Yeah. I when I started taking it, like I didn't even, some people say you have to pre-dose it by taking a lot. I didn't even do that. But within a week I gained, I think 5 pounds. Yeah. And I wanted that retained, like the purpose of me taking it was to retain that water to help with recovery. But I was aware that was going to happen. So I guess I was trying to say is like, if you are gonna, like, if you're trying to lose weight, and even though we haven't told you yet, but the number on the scale doesn't matter, but be aware that the creatine will potentially increase the scale number. And
also be aware that you don't take it like a pre-workout. Like, read the directions. It's something that you have to like build up in your body and keep taking for like amount. Like, I know some people that take it like, oh, because I'm gonna have like leg day, you know?
Oh yeah, it doesn't work. No,
it doesn't work like that.
So I take mine in the morning, but you're like, it's like before I work out, and that's only because if I don't, I'll forget to take it.
Right.
It makes more sense to take it after you work out with a meal.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. So like, but again, like the best, like if you are gonna take supplements, it has to, like, I won't remember to do that.
Right.
Okay, so another topic I think people really, I like this precision thing. We're gonna stay on that for a while.
Yeah.
That's gonna, because another, it's like kind of a myth thing, is meal timing.
Yeah.
So I have my opinions on meal timing that aren't necessarily scientifically accurate.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're similar to yours or different. So I'm just gonna say mine, and then we can discuss it.
Okay.
Okay. So my opinion on meal timing is that it's like, if you have like the classic kind of pyramid thing, it's like at the top.
Right. So like the least important.
It's the least important.
Yeah.
And it's not like, the reason meal timing, and again, in my opinion, is kind of, it can be important, is because like certain foods will help you work out better. Like if you put your carbohydrates around your workout, and it's actually different for everyone, despite what people will tell you. But if you felt like, for me, carbohydrates before I work out immediately makes my workout significantly better.
Yeah.
And then carbohydrates at night make it so I can't sleep. So if I time my meals around that, it's going to make my workout better. And because my workout was better, I probably exerted a little bit more energy.
Yeah.
And therefore it had an effect on my body composition.
Right.
But the effect was because of that. It had nothing to do with it. And also I don't stress about it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
I know,
correlation, not causation.
Exactly. And that's it. It's correlation, not causation. It was because I had a little bit of a sugar rush for whatever it was when I was doing heavy deadlifts. And that helped me lift more weight, which is what's going to help change my body composition.
Right.
But I think people get stuck on meal timing like as the first thing.
Yeah.
And like, it's like, it's like, man, you're trying to eat like a chicken breast, 2 heads of broccoli and some rice at 5 in the morning before you work out, because that's like that is not going to be sustainable.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. So I 100% agree that meal timing is not as important as a lot of people make it out to be. There are 2 particular instances where, like, I would call them myths. I feel like some might get some hate from this, but like, I'm not a huge fan of intermittent fasting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because that's my personal nightmare. That would 100% like affect sustainability for me. That is not a sustainable system for me.
Yeah.
If you're someone who wakes up and is not hungry in the morning, like, cool, maybe it's something that works for you. But people are like me and they try to do it anyway because they think it's this magic, like, switch flip that's going to make them like suddenly burn fat, like ignite the fire, the fat burning fires within.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't think that's the case.
I think it goes back to the keto thing with intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Like, it can be a tool that works for you. I know people who've done it. I did it for like a year.
Yeah. Wow.
I did like the window, and then I didn't eat on Sundays.
Yeah.
But like, it worked super well for me, but it worked because I was limiting calories.
Right.
Also, like, I know more people it hasn't worked for than has.
Yeah.
Like, it's made, like, I've watched people have very bad workouts. After talking to them, they've been trying to intermittent fast and do CrossFit.
Right.
And I don't think that is necessarily.
I would not recommend training hard on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
That's
And I mean,
not gonna...
there's people who do it. Rich Froning does it. He intermittent fasts and trains, and he eats and he works out again.
Yeah.
But he's been training his whole life.
Right.
Again, it's not something you should implement. It's not a fix.
Yeah.
It's a Band-Aid. It's not a permanent fix.
Well, and you said something there where you were like, I think it worked for me because I was, managing calorie intake.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only reason anything works.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason it worked. It helped me manage calorie intake.
Yeah.
I didn't feel any different from doing it, like, other than hungry.
Yeah.
But then, and the other thing I will say, and this is maybe not the healthy, it helped me learn what hunger actually was. Yeah. When I started fasting on, like, I would fast like longer on Sunday. I would still eat, like, I'd go from Saturday night until Sunday night without eating.
Right.
And that Sunday would teach me what like the difference between like an impulse to eat and actually needing to eat.
Right.
And for me, because I was heavy, like, I was a stress eater and I was heavy, like, they were two very different feelings.
Totally.
And that was like the only benefit I had. But I think that you can learn that now by taking Bekki's course, and it's going to be a lot less trial and error than what I did.
Yeah. Like, hopefully less like painful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what so I was like, I learned what a hunger cue felt like. And if you really struggle understanding what hunger cues are.
Yeah.
And when I say hunger cue, I mean like the urge to eat because you're stressed out or bored versus the urge to eat because you're actually hungry. Because I was like a grad student, I was a chronic stress eater.
Yeah.
And that helped me a lot. But you can also learn all that by taking Bekki's course.
Yeah. Well, the other part of timing that comes a lot other than intermittent fasting is eating at night. Like if I eat a big meal at night, I'm more likely to store that as fat. And I would call that also a myth.
This is your second big myth?
Yes, this is the other big myth about timing.
Yeah.
Like don't eat at night. Like honestly, what matters is, and we haven't really talked about this specifically yet, is like how many calories you're eating versus how many calories you're exerting systematically over time, consistently over time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter when you eat them. But if you need to make some timing decisions, choose them to support your workouts and choose them to support your sleep. Yeah.
And so I like that. I think that's a neat point. Because I've actually read recently that some people feel they have digestion issues.
Yeah.
They can happen from eating just before bed. For me personally, if I don't eat, like I eat very specific, like I have casein and Greek yogurt usually before bed, lactose-free Greek yogurt, and it relaxes me. Like it's a ritual.
Yeah.
Also, I think that having I feel less stress from having a full stomach.
Yeah.
But I know people who, if they eat before bed, they have like a bad sleep because they're struggling to digest.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I think it's important that there shouldn't be. It's another thing. There shouldn't be a hard rule on that. And if you are struggling, try it out. If you aren't struggling and what's working, don't change it.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to like make a change. If you're happy, like only make changes when you're plateauing.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, and it's the same with exactly like that with sleep, and it's the same with supporting your workouts. Some people can't work out without having something in their stomach, and some people feel nauseated if they work out with something in their stomach.
Yeah, I can't work out still. Like if I can't eat a big meal and work out, it'll take 3 hours before I can work out.
Right.
But I know that there's other people who will eat I've seen a guy eat half a pizza and then crush a workout.
Right. So like if you were asking me like in a vacuum what's best, it would be great to have some carbs, before a workout. But if that affects your workout in a negative way, that's misapplied precision.
Yeah, that's actually but that's a good thing. People, that's like a number one question I get is what should I eat before I work out?
Yeah.
And I always tell people like, okay, if you really think you're suffering, have whey in some sort of liquid, or have a protein powder or protein source in some liquid and a banana, but maybe start with like half a banana and like a little bit of protein, see how it feels. And then like the other thing is like actually write down how you feel.
Yeah.
I think that's the other takeaway is like people just kind of like start shotgunning their diet.
Right.
But it's really important to start recording what is working and not working for you because everything is so specific to you.
Yeah. So stop taking things that other people say work for them as like prescription.
Exactly. And that's why it's always been hard for me to prescribe diet and exercise specific because what works for me doesn't. I know people that what I do would not work for them.
Yeah.
And there's things that are similar, but I know there's also things that are different.
And that's why I really try to like hammer home, be brilliant at the basics.
Yeah.
And there's a million ways to do that.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in the specifics, really. Like just focus on the big picture, which is like quality, quantity. Are you sleeping? Are you exercising?
Be patient.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? Like if you pick something, be patient.
Yes.
Like if you're like, okay, I'm gonna try, like say going back to, I'm gonna try eating before I work out.
Yeah.
1, okay, know what your workout is, know when you're working out, know what you're eating, try it for at least a week before you change it. And like, no, like, and maybe so say, let's use that. Say I'm like, oh man, my workouts aren't going good. I'm gonna know what I do for a week without changing anything.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna change 1 variable. Don't try and change 6 variables.
Nope.
Because you're not gonna know. And I think what I enjoy about all of this, and especially more recently, I've gotten back to a little bit, is seeing what works for me and what doesn't. And that's when we go back to like the question of what do I like about CrossFit? I like seeing what works and what doesn't. But if I try and do everything at once, it's not gonna, nothing's gonna, like, I'm not gonna know. I won't get the result.
Yeah. Not only are you gonna be confused about what's making a difference, if anything, but it's gonna be such a like shell shock that you're not gonna do it for long enough to see if any like tangible results actually occur.
Yeah.
Right. So usually like people might try something like, I don't know, like intermittent fasting. And actually that's a bad example because you'll see some water weight drop after that. So someone might try something like, like hitting a specific caloric goal.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I did this perfectly for a week.
Yeah.
And I'm not 10 pounds lighter yet. And
on the flip side, just building off that.
Yeah.
I think that's why people like keto and intermittent fasting, because it does work instantly. But it's not sustainable. And it's all you're doing is like cutting water weight or maybe restricting calories and the other thing you're doing is changing, like your body's responding to a change.
Yeah.
And that's, I see the same thing with exercise. People will try different exercises out and then think it works. It's like, this exercise is the best way to make your squat bigger.
Right.
It's like, no, you've been squatting the same way for like 6 years and you changed it and your squat went up because your body responded to that shock, but it's not any better than what you were doing. It's just different.
Totally. Sustainability is at the heart of everything really we've been talking about. And I think it was Jordan Syatt, who's like an YouTube and Instagram influencer. I like his content. If you guys want to follow him, has my backing.
Okay.
But he says if the method is not sustainable, the results are not maintainable, which I think is awesome, because there's some people who are like, how many times do you get people who approach you and they're like, I think I should do keto again because it's worked for me in the past.
Yeah, I don't have that, so that's why you're here.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I just send to you, but that is something I've seen.
Right.
Or like I'll see like people I don't really know on Facebook anymore, but they're kind of like old and they're like starting keto again.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you started it 2 years ago and you looked great doing it, but like
you gained
it all back. You got
heavy.
You ended up, and that's the thing I found personally, you ended up rebounding worse.
Yeah.
Like the rebound was like worse than what actually.
Yeah.
Like you got keto, you lost a bunch of weight, but then you fell off, and then you felt like you messed up your metabolism a little bit, and you were like also like starved for all these foods, and you just started going crazy.
So I would ask people to challenge their definition of worked when they come with stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you did something and then you lost weight and then you gained it all back because that thing was like so unenjoyable or unsustainable, I would say that did not work.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good point. And I think it goes back to what I was saying about like measure everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your course.
Yeah.
Because Bekki has put, now we've been talking about 65 minutes.
Oh my God.
Bekki, I know, right? That's why I said we're gonna go 2 parts. Bekki has actually put together a course that I think is amazing to help people with that. And so let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's called Habitual Nutrition, Approaching Nutrition, the course.
Yeah.
So Habitual Nutrition is your company. The course is called Approaching Nutrition.
Yeah.
What is it?
It is a 16-week, honestly, 16 lessons long. You can really go at it at your own pace because it's all on demand. But what it is, it's basically after like years of working with people and getting the same questions and offering the same suggestions and things like that, I kind of systematized. I decided like it might be best to kind of put something in place to save everyone a lot of time. But its goal is to help you be brilliant at the basics, but in a really tangible way. So it's not just like, eat better quality food.
It's like, here's a strategy.
It's really broken down. So like we start with a like solid foundation, and not only is it like, here's this small change you can make today, here's some like very specific ways you can do it. So it starts with like, a big goal, which is usually like change body composition or maybe lose some weight. Yeah. And it talks about putting that into a system. The system is much more actionable than just the goal. Yeah. And then it breaks that system down into like realistic bite-sized pieces. Bite-sized.
Yeah, it's great. And I think what I like, or what I noticed the first time you ran it, is there's people who took it who were really trying to overcomplicate nutrition and who had been stuck for a while, who simplified it and made great gains. Like it was awesome to see. And then the other thing I noticed about it is it was like very, very sustainable.
Yeah.
Like, and that people got habits. that would work for them.
Yeah, forever. Like, because again, guys, like if you're doing a diet hoping that it's going to get you, I don't know, the body or the performance you want, and it's not sustainable, I think you're approaching it incorrectly. Like you have to eat for life, and if you want to maintain a certain like physique or performance level, you have to keep eating that way. At no point can you stop and expect the results to stick around.
I think that's going to be our last topic then. Not what we're about to talk about. I think you just triggered something. This is not going to be in sequence, and I apologize for that. I was going to try and end on the habitual nutrition thing.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it as you were answering, and also in the past, like there's a difference in eating for life and eating for performance.
Yeah.
And I think what we saw, and this is why during the habitual nutrition thing, is there were maybe people who were trying to eat for performance before they had learned to eat for life.
Totally.
And I think that's really, so we're going to talk about how habitual nutrition helps you eat for life.
Yeah.
We can talk a little bit. And then I think we're going to conclude by talking about when you should eat, the difference between eating for performance and eating for life. And they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
So did you notice that when you had people come in, or I don't want to call anyone out, but you had people who were maybe too focused on the...
Yeah, absolutely. So even if your goal is performance, maybe the best thing you could do if you're not already like generally healthy is get healthy.
Yeah.
Right. And CrossFit talks about this a lot, the sickness to fitness continuum, right? Like if sickness is on one end and fitness is on the other, at some point you have to pass through health and wellness before you can't just jump over to fitness.
Yeah, and I think that's building a base. Same thing, like, and the reason it triggered, this is something that triggers me a little bit. It doesn't happen as much anymore, but there was a period of time, and I think it's gonna start happening again because the CrossFit Games are coming back into prevalence. Like they're putting a big marketing push behind it, which is awesome. But you have people who'd want to like do CrossFit for a week and decide they wanted to become like the best CrossFitter in the world.
Right.
And then so they would instantly jump into what I would call performance CrossFit training. Which is like all weightlifting and heavy metcons and like specific monostructural conditioning, but they wouldn't have a base. And so they wouldn't know how to do an air squat super well, and they wouldn't know how to pace a workout. Right. And I think I saw the same thing with nutrition. I see people jump into like, I want to do this macro program and not have any idea about their base. And so I think like that's kind of where I want to like just kind of draw this out too, is really important to have the self-awareness to realize that you probably don't need to do the performance thing.
Right.
Right. And I think it's hard for some people I don't eat for performance. Bekki doesn't eat for performance.
Or maybe even a better way to think about it is like getting healthier is for you. That's what eating for performance is.
And so I guess I didn't really, when I say eat for performance, so if I'm trying, and this is never going to be me, but if I'm trying to win the CrossFit Games, I'm going to be eating a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to be probably eating like junk food while I work out.
Yeah.
I'll probably be like, I'm doing my freaking zone 2 conditioning today. It's like 90 minutes long. I'm on this rower. I'm probably going to have like some Gatorade and a Snickers bar.
Gatorade sludge. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have a Gatorade and a Snickers bar while I'm doing that. You shouldn't do that if you're not trying to maximize performance. There's no benefit. It's actually one of the reasons why before, like Greg Glassman, for all of like the pluses and negatives, like near the end of it, he was very opposed to the CrossFit Games. And one of the big reasons he is because people were seeing what the games athletes were doing and thinking it was a healthy lifestyle. And so when you see someone on the internet doing something, that probably doesn't apply to you.
Right.
Right. And I know it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, so-and-so is eating this. It's like that so-and-so is working out 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
They are like, it's a very different situation.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important. Eat for, and then what Bekki said, once you've maximized that performance and you're stuck, you can talk to us and we'll let you know. Yeah. But I can think of at the gym right now, three people, I'm not gonna name them, but 3 people who could eat, I'll name one. Phil is one person who could eat like that. He doesn't anymore. He did at one point. At one point he was eating like 600 grams of carbs, so much food. And he was just like shoveling food in his mouth. He was like training 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
And like, the thing is, he doesn't eat like that anymore. He's almost, if not as fit as when he was eating like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a sustainable, healthy thing. His blood work, like on his blood pressure wasn't great. Like he had a lot of like, when he was trying to perform at the highest level, like it wasn't super healthy.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, He's gone back to eating for performance,
Right.
or not for performance. He's gone back to eating for health,
Right.
and his like performance didn't suffer that much.
Yeah.
So unless you're outperforming kind of the top end of the gym,
Yeah.
you don't need to.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's people on our leaderboard who've gotten there without that. I think the problem is people look for a quick
Always.
workaround, and there isn't one. At least for the extra, there's not one. I'm sorry, guys, and I'm sorry anyone who's trying to make money off the internet. There's not one secret trick.
Yeah. Nope.
No.
Not at all. There's no shortcuts here. And so if you're looking for one, I would ask yourself, how long have you been trying to change your body? I'm guessing the answer is years.
Yeah.
For most people. And
Yeah.
so you might as well stick to stuff that is scientifically backed and is going to work 100% if you can stick with it sustainably.
What's the worst secret thing? Beside like Fit Tea, what's the worst thing you've seen?
Other than Fit Tea?
Two-part question. What's the worst thing you've seen on the internet? And then again, without naming names, what's the worst thing someone else came to you saying that they were doing? Like the person who came to you is gonna know, but like you've already had that conversation. If they listen to this. I have no idea. I don't talk to anyone about nutrition anymore.
Oh man, nutrition wise?
Yeah,
other than Fit Tea and other than like waist trainers.
Waist trainers and Fit Tea?
Those are the most popular. Yeah, any fat burner, Fit Tea is just a laxative, just so you know. That's all it is, in case you haven't found that out firsthand. No, I'm sure there's something worse. Honestly, it's just like the end of the spectrum shit, like the carnivore diet or like cabbage soup diet or like.
I'll say I don't know if they fat burners.
You think it's fat burners?
Fat burners are the word. Like not so much now because it's way more regulated, but like 10 years ago when you get the fat burners with ephedrine in them.
Yeah.
It's like it's like essentially you're doing meth.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to be fair, like
cow.
if you want to lose weight really fast, do meth.
Yeah.
There is a quick fix, guys, to your diet, but like I don't think it's healthy long term. Yeah, or even like enough cocaine, but like I don't think that's sustainable long term.
Right, there might be some diminishing returns.
Yeah, definitely, especially on the meth.
Not so much the cocaine, but for sure the meth.
For sure the meth. Okay, so what's like the biggest error has anything still prevalent with people? Like what do people come to you with? I'm just trying to hit this home so maybe people will hear it different ways and they stop doing it. And that way you don't have to have that conversation anymore.
I think the central theme of the biggest errors maybe is speed. Yeah. This all of a sudden inspiration, motivation, which comes from a good place, that is like, I'm so motivated. No, hit me with the hard stuff. Like I want to do this and I'm ready now and like let's do this fast. Like I've got, a trip in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's this obsession with speed and always that's a red flag for me as something that's like set up for failure.
Yeah, and I'll say that I agree with that when it comes to exercise. It's people like instantly jumping into doing way too much. Brendan and I talked about this in detail, but doing too much, like man, you can get really, really fit doing an hour a day, 6 days a week of what we do. And you can get really, really lean. Look at Bekki, just eating the way she tells you.
Yeah.
Like super fit looking.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, right? I think that's really important too because you're practicing what you preach. Like you're not like, and I can speak to knowing you, like, and we talked about kind of our crepe pizza night. Yeah. I can speak to like, I know that you're not doing, like, you're not saying one thing and then doing another thing.
No.
You're not like, you're not like saying all this stuff about being simple and then like going home and weighing everything you eat.
Nope.
When was the last time you weighed your food?
Well, so actually still whey protein, but
protein?
For me, that's a way to make sure both I'm getting enough and just enough because I'm kind of an animal lover and I don't like to overeat.
That's fair. So protein. Yeah, you make sure you get just enough protein.
Yeah, I don't want to overdo it. I think that's the other thing.
You're not a vegetarian, not quite.
No.
But you have worked with vegetarians.
Yes.
And you can be a vegetarian and do all of this.
Certainly can. Yeah, there's some things that are going to be a little bit harder, but plenty of people have done it. It's going to require a little more focus, but for sure you can do it.
Awesome. And I think that's it. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah. One thing on the flip side of people who come in gung ho.
Yeah.
The opposite side of that coin is people who think like, like I can't do this right now. Like I'm only gonna.
Yeah. Okay. We have some time. We can talk about that. That's really important because I think that I see that too.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to see that a lot when we reopen. for it.
Yeah.
Like that's something that used to be an objection I get. People like, they come in, they meet with me for a consult or whatnot to start with the gym, and they're like, I'm going to start in a month.
Yeah.
So I think you probably get the...
Totally.
Yeah.
And there are some people who even like, who maybe express interest or even start nutrition coaching. And then maybe after like, you know, a week or two, it's like, I think I need to take a break because like, I know I'm only going to get what I put into it and I just can't right now. And I'm like, but you're going to get what you put into it. Anything is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Like an always something mindset is far more productive than an all or nothing.
That's really important. The same thing here. Like I tell people like, man, you should come 4 to 6 days a week. But if you can only manage 3 days a week, it's still better than not coming at all.
Yeah.
And so, and the other thing I will say, like when I see people like that, if don't try not to limit yourself though. Like the big thing else is like, I can only come 2 days a week, no matter what. It's like, man, let's try coming 4 days a week. And then worst case scenario, you only come 2 days a week. And I find it's probably the same thing with nutrition a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, let's just try and eat some vegetables every day.
Right.
Worst case scenario, you're going to eat vegetables every other day.
Yeah.
You're still ahead of where if we didn't do anything.
So there are people I'll meet with, and you know, the goal was to maybe hit a certain number of like vegetables a day, and they'll be like, I did it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but not Thursday. I'm like,
you did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, that's so great.
I see that like even with experienced athletes, they're like, man, I only peeled my back squat by 5 pounds.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you peeled your back squat by 5 pounds. I haven't peeled my back squat by 5 pounds in like 7 years.
Totally.
It's like, man, just be happy, be chill.
Yeah, understand that these small changes are a part of a big system that are what are going to get you to goal. So like, don't overlook the small stuff.
Yeah.
Basically.
Awesome. Okay. So again, I don't know how I'm going to end up cutting this up, but if you want to speak to Bekki, I recommend checking out her website, Habitual Nutrition.
Yeah.
Start with the Approaching Nutrition course.
For sure.
I guess, that was the other thing I was saying, because you don't really do one-on-one anymore.
No, and I mean, right now with all this going on,
Yeah.
I'm talking to people if they want to talk.
Yeah. But like, I think what I was trying to say is like, most people don't need it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is exactly why I created this course.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you've never counted macros, if you've never had nutrition coaching before, paid real close attention, that's 100% the best place to start.
Yeah, and just make it small. Because I do the same thing. I have people who come in and they think they need a specialized strength program, or it's like, man, no, you don't.
Nope.
So I guess what I'm going to leave you guys with, and this is going to be the last thing I said, is you're not special. I'm sorry.
You're so special.
You're all, okay, fine. If everyone's special, no one's special. But like what I mean is there are instances, and we've had a couple people who need to see medical advice, but for the most part, what works for one person a version of it will work for you.
Yeah.
Our strength and conditioning program will most likely work for you.
Yeah.
Bekki's course will most likely work for you.
Yeah.
And try them both out. Then if they don't work, then make sure you've actually done it. Then talk about getting personalized things.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of people selling one-on-one nutrition, and there's a lot of people selling one-on-one strength and conditioning. And I've done one-on-one with people, and it hasn't, in most instances, it doesn't produce, the results are better when it's actually done as a group.
Yeah.
I know that you've done the one-on-one and the group thing, and the biggest results we saw were from the group thing.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Power of community kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Because I just said that because everyone thinks, I know, but I need this. It's like, no, man, you just need to squat with everyone else in class today.
Totally.
Right? You just need to eat vegetables with everyone else is eating vegetables.
You need to be brilliant at the basics.
Yeah, exactly.
This concludes our 2-part episode on nutrition. I want to thank Bekki for joining me, and I hope you guys learned something. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me make that YouTube money one day. You can also follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.